Welcome to the CFG GameCast, episode number 13, a weekly podcast created by gamers and streamers alike to discuss the latest gaming topics from the previous week. We stream a new episode on Saturdays, and we release it on podcast services such as Apple and Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, and Podbean. So show us some love and follow us on one of our Twitch channels to not miss an episode. You can either follow us on with Smitty's channel, Smitty2447, or Sesh's channel, Review Sesh, or me, Mr. CFG himself, Davis Green on CFG Games. So once again, I'm with a group of fellow gamers. Got a huge gamer with me on the other side in Cali, just chilling with us as always, aka the Backlog Queen. I got Sesh Evans on the second seat. How are you doing?
Hi, doing pretty good. Ready to catch up with some of that backlog and settle in.
Yeah, you and I both, though. That's never going to happen. But I remember you were like the other day, when you were talking about trying to figure out how to stream on PS3. That's how I know it's never going to happen. Oh, man.
I bought the cable you recommended, so guys, I'm going to be streaming PS3 games now. Hell yeah.
Oh my God. It's like, all the technology in the front, and then all of a sudden it's like, nope, you're going backwards. It's like, because you just need to keep up.
All the technology in the front so that we can go backwards.
Yes. Oh, there we go. So yeah, that's cool. So what have you been up to?
Well, settling in. I'm kind of in the process of moving, so I'm a little bit of a nomad right now. Started working full time, and then I got a GoFundMe project I am filming next weekend, and then you're going to be hearing all about that every week, probably, for me.
Oh yeah, well, that's always going to be fun to pimp your idea out for the world to try to participate. So
I'm always about pimping my ideas. That's the one that's going to be out next week. Last week, as you told me about, you saw the cheese video. I'm starting to do that series as well. So I'm making sure to stay busy on all of my off time and just really not actually have off time or time to sleep. That's my goal.
Good deal. Yeah, that's the goal. Perfect goal. All right. And I have the 5-star general of the itty bitty Smitty committee. I got Smitty on the third seat. How are you doing, buddy?
I've been bad. A little under the weather. My throat is killing me. We think I have pharyngitis. So my throat is super. It literally feels like every time I I swallow or anything, it feels like somebody's stabbing me in the throat. So I'm gonna try to speak as loud as I can without straining my voice. But other than that, it's been okay. I've been getting some games, and I know that I'm gonna always go back to Anthem. Okay.
Well, before you go into that, just quick question: are you saying pharyngitis or laryngitis?
Pharyngitis.
What's the
pharyngitis?
What's the difference?
So it's lower in your throat, and it's basically just an inflammation of that lower part of your throat. Other than the sore throat, like I feel fine. My head's a little congested, so it's kind of hard for me to hear. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's really, really weird because I was taking medications and nothing was helping. So I was like, all right, man, this isn't like a cold or the flu or anything. So had to go do the thing,
Oh man, I am sorry that you're feeling that way. Hopefully, you get through that real fast. Yeah, but you were saying something about you were saying something about Anthem.
Yeah, so just real quick. So obviously, when we've talked about it, you guys know that I really want to see Anthem succeed. They recently came out, or they haven't come out with the Cataclysm yet, but they put it up on the PTS. Excuse me. So I said, all right, I'm gonna go and let me download that. Let me check it out. So I downloaded it the other day. I went to go play it. And every time, I go in, I load in, I'm loading into the Cataclysm, and it keeps dropping me with an error that it can't load my player data. So I actually have not even had a chance to play it yet. So I don't know if anybody else is having that issue. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing it's maybe just me. Maybe I just need to delete it and reinstall it. Maybe. I'm not sure. But it's definitely a little frustrating, again, with a game that's already been frustrating people. Having something like this on top of it is just like, I just want to walk away and say I'm done with you.
It's really hard to really kind of say anything else, anything more negative about Anthem. But then again, it's like, but in its course, though, let's say that it could be a PTR issue though in itself. So, but the what's annoying is that it sometimes happens on the regular server, because you remember, like, sometimes you can get inside the game and then you look like you're about to start it, but then it just kicks you out for no reason. So. Yeah, it's and I mean, I'm not usually a fond, like, I don't usually like going on PTR because it's not as, like, stable for the most part to me, or I've had the worst luck with that stuff too. So I just go with so I'll just go with the it just sucks. I mean, it really does suck. Like, if you're really trying to give it a bone, and that stuff always happens with it. You just go back to square one. It's good, but it's like there's issues with it.
Exactly.
Well, that sucks. Okay. Well, anyways, and I know I've been just messing around with Bloodstain like crazy. I've just been, like, loving that Metroidvania like game, and totally hyped on it. I'm surprised because I'm not a big fan of Kickstarter, because I feel Kickstarter usually kind of screws people over. It's not Kickstarter's fault, but I will say that it's not. I feel like that they do instigate these kind of things to happen. So, like, especially in gaming, with Kickstarter gaming, I will say though, this game is actually pretty solid for a Kickstarter game. So I'm definitely enjoying it, and all the different kinds of things in it. And I'm only like 30% in, so we'll see. But anyways, let's get into it. We'll each of us chooses we each choose pick a topic of a discussion within video games from the previous week. The topic could or should be something about a specific game, or something that happened in the gaming industry itself as a whole. But we'd also want the listeners on Twitch, or also just either on Twitch, to be interactive. So just definitely either go to the top where it says CFG GameCast, put in a topic that you want us to discuss. We will choose it at the end of the session, or Smitty will also keep an eye out on the chat to see what the chat's like, and we'll put something out there if it's something interesting. So we'll definitely we'll be keeping up with that, and you can also just go check it. If you want to send something else, you can go to our Twitter, The Comic Freak, and we will post something here on maybe a future episode or so. So let's get to it. Let's see. You've done it. You were first before, so I won't do that to you, Smitty or Sesh. You know what? I haven't done it myself for a long time, so I will volunteer. I will volunteer as tribute for this one. Okay, so this one, I'm going to be talking about. You know what's funny? I feel like this is going to be an EA rag show. I didn't really feel like it's going to be, but I'm going to talk about something that came up on the thing that I was like, oh, that kind of sucks, but I don't think that it's. I mean, it makes sense, but at the same time, it sucks to see that someone. It sucks that they're actually going to be doing it. So. There was an article on comicbook.com about Star Wars: The Fallen Order. And they were talking about that Disney themselves, like Disney as the corporation, is orders censorship for some of the violence to appease in the game. So the obvious violence that they're probably referring to is people using lightsabers and cutting off limbs and stuff like that. So in comparison, so what they were showing you as part of some of the video in the E3 compared to what you can do is going to be different. So the only thing, so from the article they were saying in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, you can't dismember enemies with your lightsaber unless they are spiders, droids, or anything not humanoid. So in other words, basically humans. You can't dismember humans. And when I heard it at first, I was kind of angry because I was like, not really like angry, but I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. But because like it's a lightsaber, you want to have that feeling of like cauterizing, like just swoop, just one swoop, and then you just take off an arm or a leg or something, because that's what a lightsaber does. But at the same time, I can kind of understand where they're coming from on this, on not the fact that it's also like it's Disney, but also the fact that they were saying that that they're trying to appease us for everybody to play. This isn't going to be like they're not trying to make this a mature rated game. So no one cares about about droids or unfortunately spiders and stuff like spiders and stuff like that to get attacked by it. But at the same time, it's like I was just like, I can understand where they're kind of coming from. I mean, there's a middle ground towards it. I'm not gonna lie to y'all and say that I'm upset, that I'm disappointed in it, but you can kind of see where they're coming from. I mean, what do y'all think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's so it's funny because like this isn't the first thing they've done that with, like censoring the Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but they stopped manufacturing and there is no products at all anymore in existence that will ever be made that is Slave Leia now that Disney owns them. Like, they're not getting involved with that at all. So it's kind of the same thing. What I like about it, though, like, I mean, I think it's dumb both ways because it's like, well, Star Wars doesn't need the violence. Like, that, it doesn't add to it. So, like, yeah, it's fine that it's not there, whatever. But then also on the other end, it's like, you're changing it. This is the tone. This is that. So, like, it's dumb to change. People are already a fan of it. Like, this isn't going to be anyone's first media of Star Wars, most likely. Right. Like, they're already going to be a fan of the series if they're buying the game. But I'm okay with them doing that and moving forward with changing the tone. That I feel like is okay because we all know Star Wars can be edited backwards where they'll change it post-tense. And so I'm very glad because they completely have all the power and ability to do that and all the money they would ever need to, and they're not. They're just doing it with stuff moving forward. Like, they're not trying to re-release the original series where the Slave Leia is digitally altered so she's not wearing the same costume. They're not doing that. They're just not making new toys.
Is it the fact that she's a slave or what she's wearing?
I think it's a little bit of both.
I think it's a little bit of both for that when it comes to that.
Very much both, I think. And then, she was, like, Disney princesses, you can't say have been, like, sexualized, but, like, Slave Leia specifically is, like...
Do you know what I will... Let me interject here for real quick. I love the fact that we're talking about gaming censorship and we just pivoted to Slave Leia. Like, it wasn't even, like, a gradual change. It was just a straight 90 degrees of just turn it to be like, okay.
They're doing the same thing. They're just not, moving forward. They're just not going to have this thing that has already been established in the series. And they're doing it to, for younger audiences and to be more family friendly.
Well, there's two things.
I get that.
I'm sorry. No, go for it, Smitty. You haven't had your time.
Like, for me, again, I understand it, and I don't think it's going to change, what we already love about the series. I'm fine with, them altering that stuff or not having the violence in the game. Like you're saying, Sesh, it's not necessary. People that are fans of it, people that already love it, are going to love it regardless. The whole Slave Leia thing, that one's kind of, I understand that, and especially with Disney's image, they're what they're all about and stuff like that. Clearly, that is off-brand from what they're about. But they're not going back and trying to digitally, change it or anything like that. But moving forward, it's always interesting to me though when people try to, you're not going to be able to please everybody. We all know that, right? So they're clearly trying to grab onto that younger audience. Again, we had it, when we were young, we had the original series, this and that. So they're trying to kind of move forward, from there. And you kind of have to, they're going to have to, do their own. I mean, obviously there's been tons of books and stuff like that, but they got to put their own stamp and their own, how they feel it should go. And I'm okay with it. Again, I'm always going to be a fan of the series, and yeah, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me.
You know what the one thing is I kind of have with this is that I understand that why they're doing it, but what doesn't make sense to me is like how are they not like because really this is the first Star Wars that randomly got this, that randomly kind of gave them the limitation after the game was made, it was kind of because what was the most recent one that was standalone? Forces Unleashed. Forces Unleashed was all about damage and destruction and stuff like that. But they were told, but they designed their schematic of what they were going to do. It wasn't like a surprise to anyone that they were going to do it this way. But it's weird that that Disney kind of was like, they came back after the game was done and then they said, yeah, there's too much cutting in this. You got to pull this out. It's kind of like in Mortal Kombat, someone the Ed Boon makes Mortal Kombat, and then they decide to say, "Yeah, this is too gory. You need to take the blood out of this." Like after the game was made, it's really weird.
That's super interesting because it's like one of those things. That's one of those things that's very. I don't know if you guys have, or like any of our listeners or viewers have a lot of experience working with corporations, but that's absolutely one of the things that'll happen is that note of okay, no limbs flying off of humanoid humans in this Star Wars game.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been so easy for them to give early on. And they just didn't do it at all. They never even thought of it. It was when they first saw it that whoever was in charge of, sending down those orders first saw it was oh, hey, that's violent. we need to go in a different direction. And then they had to, and then it costs a lot of money to, make changes like that. Even just little things. There's, hours that go into it. So it's just one of those corporate oversight mistakes that you see happen a lot in corporate creative processes.
Right. Right. So, so it's good. You know what the thing is, I feel like they know that they're going to have to they're going to mask it by maybe doing a, a lightsaber streak or some sort of stream or something like that. So, it doesn't make a big deal. I just really wish that they didn't say, oh, at E3 when they saw the videos and then, when the video was released and stuff like that. It's just y'all did this way too late to be complaining about this. So,
yeah, who was approving stuff before it being released to E3? Come on, guys. This had to be someone's job.
Yeah, well, someone kind of dropped the ball on that. But yeah, so at least, I guess we're all on the same page. Saying it sucks, but at the same time, it's understandable, right?
Yeah, I think so.
As long as they're not changing stuff post-retroactively that are bigger than this.
Yeah, I know, right? We're gonna change the name for call it Storm Battles instead of Star Wars. The next trilogy or something.
Empire Strikes Back with Luke's hand.
Yeah,
it's no, he spiked it into a robot hand already.
Oh my god! Yeah, I know, right? It's his hand turns into. It's but really, they retrocon it. When he loses his hand, you come to find out that it's General Grievous. They're oh no.
No, even better, he gets swatted at, and it's my glove.
I know, right? Oh, it was just my glove you took off, not my hand. Yeah.
So, it's funny. So Cowboy from the live stream says that, Disney, Aladdin, for example, Princess Jasmine had a bunch of skin showing. And I feel they've had, racist things that they've said we've talked about and stuff like that at Disney. So I feel like they've really, changed from kind of old school Disney to this kind of new age Disney that is very much, and we know living in the day and age that we live in now, you have to be extra careful about what you say and you know what I mean, and being considerate of other people, other nationalities, other religions. Everything has to be taken into consideration, especially with this outrage culture, this cancel culture that we live in nowadays.
You know what's funny though?
Disney too,
but here's the funny thing about
based,
but Disney themselves, they've kind of lived through this kind of culture ever. Like, you, I mean, like, do you remember back in like the early, like the 80s and the 90s when Disney animation was like they were still doing Disney animation, like hand drawn animations or CG and stuff. Do you remember the groups, the family groups that they had to that literally went frame by frame to make sure, like, you remember, like, it said, like, oh, someone wrote the word sex in the when the wind of Pocahontas,
Yep.
some randomness, yeah, like that kind of stuff. So many things,
everywhere.
so many things from Disney's side to deal with that.
They know, like, they can't appeal to absolutely everyone. Like, usually, like, I mean, they can't make everyone happy all the time. There is something for everyone in Disney, I'd say, but, like, I remember, like, there were complaints, like Little Mermaid, like, she's too skimpy.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, like, she's not wearing enough. Like, there were those complaints too. Like, they're always gonna have some complaints. Like, they're just, yeah, I know, right? Like, but like what they are doing now, it's
I just guarantee you, yeah.
I feel like it's more so like just like being appropriate for a family while being also very like inclusive. Like, they're definitely leaning like towards all of that. Like, I don't think Disney's gonna get. I
will guarantee you that Disney has probably heard and seen almost everything that they like throughout. Like, I mean, not just the climate that we live in now, but like just in general. I bet you they've heard and seen and stuff on it. Like, yeah, like there was an outcry of the first Aladdin song, Arabian Nights, when that originally changed. They had to change some of the lyrics, and then there was one part that was still in it that people were still pissed off about. So like, it was like, I mean, I'm sure that Disney knows accordingly how to take care of all that stuff. So
yeah. They're never going to be perfect with it, but they're definitely trying to be within like some changing boundaries.
And now since they're not in games, yeah, so that's probably another thing. Since they're pretty much hands off in games, you know. So who knows?
That's right.
Yeah. So who knows? All right.
They're like, you guys did this in all the video games. Oh, no.
It's like, what do you call this? This is gaming? Yeah, I don't know. Anyways. Okay, cool deal. All right, so I'll give this over to Smitty at this on the second topic. Smitty, what do you bring to the table?
Okay, so this is shit on EA Day.
I told you. That's why I said at the beginning. I was like, I really feel like we're really gonna crap on EA today.
So, but this has to be, I mean, this was absolutely ludicrous to me. So I know that here a couple days ago, I think it was, or sometime this week, they had EA over in Parliament and to talk about the loot boxes and loot box mechanics and all that stuff, right? I think this is running. So they did that, and they're talking and they're questioning. This isn't it. This isn't the video. Where the hell's the video? There it is. There we go. So they're speaking with this, and I should have pulled a damn article up. But they were speaking with her about, hey, loot boxes and it being gambling and, this and that. Hold on, let me just get this real quick.
I remember I read a little bit about that. I read like the headline. I'm just giving you time while you look it up, but I read a little bit about the headline and whether it is or isn't gambling, because I know we've brought up like the loot box discussion before, and different places have different gambling laws. So under some of them it would be considered, some places it wouldn't be considered. And did you find the article yet? I'm done talking.
Well, do you have the article? Because like, I just, the way I look at it is that, like, of course they're going to say it's not gambling, because that's a source of money. I mean, they're going to make, exactly. Yeah, they're going to call it something else, which they essentially did.
So let me just, I'm going to read this, and I just put the link there, and this is from Polygon. But they're saying a senior executive at Electronic Arts told the United Kingdom's Parliament that the company prefers to call loot boxes surprise mechanics, and argued that their use in EA games is quite ethical and quite fun and enjoyable to people. That is like some of the biggest bullshit I've ever heard in my entire life. To sit there and say, well, we like to call them surprise mechanics. It's like, come on. Fool anybody. That is straight up. And here's my thing. If a grown-up wants to spend their money on buying loot boxes and skins and this and that, more power to you. I got no problems with it. The thing is, though, is that you got kids now, and these kids, they're taking credit cards from their parents. They're this and that over, over this thing that again, and the biggest issue with it is that for the money that you're paying, you're not guaranteed anything. And that's where it becomes gambling. Again, I could sit down at a casino, go to the casino, sit down at a machine, throw in $20, and I know that I'm not guaranteed to at least walk away with $20 or something of value other than time and entertainment and whatnot. Or maybe if I get a drink or something like that. But it's just, it is ridiculous. And this is where, especially with these bigger corporations, it's like, how dumb do you think people are to sit there and say something ridiculous like, oh, surprise mechanics?
It's a lingo.
They're definitely trying really hard.
No.
Personally, I don't think it is gambling. I think there's so many things that are, as long as if it's gambling if you could walk away with nothing, which isn't the case. Like, you always get something. So whether or not that something is fair to how much money you're paying for it is completely up to the individual on what they're looking to get and how rare the thing is or how common it is. But it's the same as a raffle. Like, you could still walk, like if here's a raffle, put in $1, you get a ticket and a candy. Okay, cool. That's what you bought. And then maybe you're gambling if you're going to get more, but you're not putting in additional money beyond that. Like, you're still getting something. Gambling is, and like loot boxes too, like even if you get duplicates, then you get it, usually it converts into like a currency in the game. So you can't even get the same thing twice. Because money, you could just money on money on money on money. Like I'll take 2 $5 bills. I don't mind duplicates,
The irony of what you're saying right here.
Like you get one,
The irony of what you are saying on here makes sense because in a way I do, in a sort of way, I do agree with what you're saying, Sesh. But in a way, at the same time, the irony of all of this is that this discussion is on here because of EA. Because I love that irony. But the biggest thing is this, like, when you make your loot boxes pay to win, that's when the problem comes, and then that's exactly what happened with certain games. It wasn't just one game. I think the biggest game was Battlegrounds or whatever. Battlegrounds 2.
To earn it in that, right?
Well, originally they limited your chances of earning it, so they were forcing you to pay real money to get into to get these loot boxes, like, because there was a limit of like you can only do this for 2 hours. The original base limit was you can only do this for 2 hours. The amount of money that you were able to get was ridiculously low, and to get these heroes that they were wanting originally, like Luke Skywalker's, Darth Vader's, and all that stuff, was like 60,000 points. So if you didn't want to pay for it, then it would take you literally 8 months to get one character. It was ridiculous. So like, it
needs to be like minimum wage. That needs to be like their marker for it. Because like I don't think like the trying to label it as something else is good. Like that's skeezy. That's not good.
No,
and then like it's almost like gambling, but it's so unfair, lopsided gambling. Like it's not like other games. Like my like the goal for loot boxes for me is always like Overwatch.
Everyone is.
I feel like that's a pretty good example of like what they should be. Greedy companies push that. Like
the biggest problem is that
surprise mechanics. The biggest, they're extra greedy with weird, wordy lawyers.
No, the biggest problem is this. Well, first off, EA will never say that it's gambling, because if they do, they're going to be admitting guilt that they were doing it. So that's one thing. Two, the other problem is that we know that it's not gambling. It technically isn't. EA made it to be more like towards gambling, but but technically, because the way I look at it is the same way you look at it. It's like a raffle. You're getting a raffle to get a chance to get your duplicates, like how Overwatch does it when it was all customized, what's it called? it wasn't pay to win. It was just basically cosmetic for everything. So I think that I think just for them to say that it's a surprise mechanic is first off such the douchiest thing that they could ever say to do on what they're doing. And then what's even worse is that they, with a straight face, say that was ethical and fun. Is like, you've got to be freaking kidding me, because like because
like gambling.
you are one of the most it is one of the most unethical things I have seen on how these loot boxes have been in the past 5 years, is what y'all did as a company. So like, I don't know the nonsense that y'all or the cloud that y'all are on right now to say that y'all are doing fine, because like, I've seen y'all's FIFA stuff that you did back in like 2 years ago. That was BS. The 2K stuff that happened with NBA 2K, this is just random sports itself. Y'all are gambling. That is gambling itself. That's not. There's nothing about cosmetics and stuff like that you can call it quote unquote surprise mechanics. So yeah, that's what really pisses me off, because they make it look like that we're stupid, and that's where it comes off of, you know. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, like, it's one of those stupid terms. Like, I really don't like it. Like, it's a terrible term. It's absolutely, guys, trust us. We're so ethical. See this thing? It's ethical. Like, it's literally fun because it's like gambling. That's why gambling is a problem for people, because it's fun. It like hits that, like, you know, like it hits the right buttons, and that's what this does too. Like, that's why it's fun. They were such sleazeballs.
Activision did the same thing. Remember with Destiny, when they brought in their shop, they started putting shit behind a paywall. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's when I was like, I can't nay. Especially when you're doing things that, you know, cosmetics and stuff like that. If you want to spend your money on skins, great, but don't give people an unfair advantage, you know, because they have money, or put things behind these paywalls. It becomes unfair. Not only that, but then, you know, these games are targeted towards kids too. So, you know, you got desperate kids going into mom's purse and stealing the credit card, or, you know, whatever the case may be. I mean, again, and I'm not lost on that kind of stuff, because we did that kind of stupid stuff, you know, when we were younger too. That's how I know, you know what I mean? It's like, oh shit, we got to get this is the new thing. Let me just, let me just grab that and do that. And what? Oh, where'd that money go? You know, it's,
yeah, you're totally right. No, you're totally right. And you know what's funny? It's like, come on, one of the biggest games that are out there right now that gets like ridiculous amounts of money is Fortnite. And then like, their main focus is specifically to those crates, the llama crates and stuff like that. Like all these, the outside help. Have we heard any problems on of how fair or unfair that nonsense is when for people picking up on the to get what they get as gear wise? Because like, to me, I haven't heard any. I mean, I'm legitimately asking, because I really wanted to know, because like, how are they like, because like, if they're doing something, they're clearly doing something right. Overwatch is doing something right when it comes to those kind of stuff, because like, because you're going to be but the difference is just how you have everything set to your how EA has everything set to their standards, and how Destiny did. Because I do remember that Destiny thing that you were talking about, because like, I don't play Destiny that much, but I do remember there was one point that there was a paywall on an expansion that happened that was free, right? And then, but then because of that expansion that was free, you weren't able to progress on a certain, unless you paid for something specifically. And then they had to retcon it, because it was like, you're leaving a disadvantage to people who weren't paying it. And I was like, that is like, so when you have issues like that, then there's something wrong. There's something clearly wrong with all that.
Yeah, so, definitely. Yeah. Like, it's definitely the profit and not even common sense logic doing it. It's like they don't even put themselves in the shoes of the gamers. They're just like, okay, yeah, we'll just charge this, and they're gamers, so they're gonna buy it because they want to play for infinity hours, and that's all they want. So yeah, they're gonna buy this stuff because this stuff's cool. And it's like, no, people aren't gonna actually play or do it like that. And there's so many other loot box systems out there that work as they are. Like, they really are. Like, they've found how to do it right. Like, that's why some things catch on, and I think that's why we see so many loot box systems that are a lot of just cosmetic, and it's just a matter of, like, you can earn it, and it's not too impossible to earn very many at a time.
No, I mean, it's just
you could shortcut it with money.
The common factor is EA.
Don't need to.
The common factor has been EA this whole time. I mean, it wasn't. It's not that no one else. They don't know how to do it. It's just that EA is always about maximum amount of profit. It's always been that way. So I mean, because it's been clear that you can do it, but they never do. They never do it right.
Yeah, they're trying to, they see the system and that's the formula and that's what works, and they're just trying to change it just for profit, and it's not working, and they keep trying.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It really angers me, especially how stupid does EA think of us as a consumer to say, oh no, they're.
Here's the thing, though. That other point is that people are still buying the games. They're still doing it, and that's why it continues to happen. Because there's no repercussions for them doing it. Even, there's a social outrage, this and that. But then people are still paying. They're still buying them. They're still dumping money in the loot boxes. So how do you go about, what is, I guess, a real solution to, especially with sorry, I've got this lozenger in here. So, how do you go about, especially with a corporation where their bottom line is absolutely going to be their profits? So how do we as gamers, what can we do to combat this, to get them to stop doing something like this?
I mean, the only way that they will do some sort of levels of change, because I think a good example of that was also Battlefront 2 was people stop purchasing it. It's just not getting not answer with your wallet. I mean, unfortunately it's never gonna happen, because there's a lot of people, because you got the outside people that may not, you have the casual gamer crowd that's also, and I'm not pointing any blame to them, it's just people that's oh, it's a Star Wars game, I'm gonna pick this up because it's a Star Wars game. And then just pick it, and then just buy it, not knowingly this is how their systems work. But a gamer who knows how this nonsense is and how the process is and stuff like what they're trying to deal with, is more aware. But overall, the only way we can do it is to actively just not pay with your, not talk with your wallet. I mean, that's the saddest. It's the hardest thing to do, but at the same, so it's the easiest.
Tough for them to make that choice, because it's hey, we're too poor to buy these things. We don't feel like there's value in it to spend this money for it, and then that's tough for a company to be oh, we want to appeal to you. So I get it, but at the same time, you guys are getting so many complaints, and there's so many other systems like this that are similar that still make money out there, that you don't have to be that greedy, and then you will still make more. If you're less greedy, you will make more money. It's an insane concept that a lot of companies just don't grasp. But if you make something a little bit cheaper, you're widening your market, and they're just completely ignoring that outside market. Even I'd say very very intense gamers, they still they're still not happy about this kind of thing. Even if you play a lot and you got the income for it too, which is a huge factor. You could love a game all you want, but you're only going to have what you have for income.
Right.
And they really could open more doors and make a lot more money, I think, and open up to a bigger market. If they would just be a little bit less greedy about it, they could be so much more greedy.
Well, they could just, or have it.
I mean, that's the thing, with the internet shit, right? Net neutrality. We know going down that slippery slope. Oh, the companies are not going to do anything. They're gonna have a conscience. We all know that's bullshit. We already know, 'cause they've already tried to do shit in the past. Yeah. That's why we had net neutrality in the first place.
I know, right?
The same thing goes with loot boxes and this and that. They'll keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So the wider you open it up, the more they're gonna come up. They're gonna be greedier. They're gonna become, and I'm not gonna say necessarily malicious, but there's not gonna be any consumer thought into these types of decisions, and how they will milk it for everything that it's worth, and that to me is the scariest part, because once you start going down that slope, it's hard to go back up.
Well, it's not like EA makes a game out of love as much as they used to. When you think about it, and I'm not saying EA as the backbone, because they're all about the maximum. It's all about maximum profit through EA. Now that's not saying anything about all the subsidiaries that EA owns, like the people who did Mass Effect and stuff like that. But it's just that the biggest point is that like their factors is that they do want to make a good game, but they have these insane deadlines to get to the expectations of what their investors are towards EA to get these done. And then on top of that now is because since how microtransactions have been like so prevalent in the past 10 to 15 years now, it's like now they're building games kind of around that on top of like besides the other factors of a good story or a good like, you know, gameplay, good mechanics and stuff like that. Because and it's really, like I said, and then I hate to point the blame on it, but it's really mostly Electronic Arts has had this ongoing issue of like, you know, trying to set these right. It's like you easily can just stop being so freaking greedy towards all this, but it's just something that it always comes back to, you know. So yeah, it's unfortunate.
I'm pessimistic right now, but I'm hoping that like it's definitely just like an upper management change. Like there's just some people there, you know, that are pushing these kinds of ideas and those kinds of things, and they've been proven time and time after again that like, there's going to be a lot of pushback on them. Once those people are gone, once they actually address this issue and they put like a new take, somebody or maybe some people there instead making these calls and trying to steer in these directions, like they're going to be better off.
I would love to talk to.
Totally a hope. I think it's not entirely the culture there, but it's definitely higher ups getting a hand and a say in how they want to do some things and some of the ideas. Like, and they keep on pushing for it. And I'm sure it's the same people that have been involved for a while, and like it's not succeeding, and they still try because the games still do make money. They still do okay. They're just not seeing how much money they're not going to be able to make because they're still pushing the same greedy ideas.
I would love to like talk to an ex-EA guy or something like that, you know, because like that would be like the one thing. It's like you know, off the record on it, like just to see like upper management and stuff like that. I would love to know like how things work. I've always wondered about it, but.
I might got a guy. I mean, I don't know if he'll talk on the
ex-EA.
record. He might talk privately. Yeah,
I said ex-EA, yeah, you know.
He used to be EA, and he quit.
You don't mess around with that nonsense. Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Bring up a comment from Indust from the live stream. He says, problem is that we as middle-aged gamers feel like we're a much bigger market and influence on the gaming big business model. We're really only like 2% compared to mobile gamers and younger gamers who are raised in the climate of paywalled games. I agree with that 100%.
I totally agree with it too. I don't necessarily will say that it was also with, I mean, come on. There's a difference between console gamers and mobile gamers. I mean, because for me, in the eyes of if you're particular with mobile, you know that you're going to have to pay to play. There's like most of it because most of their sense is going to be a freemium game. Console gamer is just as much as like how there's PC players and there's console players. Or back in the day, there's PC players and console players. Like there was a separation of that because they know you weren't getting the same maximum amount of output towards that. Now, when they try to do the same stuff that they're trying to do, now I will agree on the fact that we're the middle-aged class, and we are not the majority of the voice itself, and I totally understand that. But but overall though too, I think that people who do see that, I mean, because everyone unanimously agrees what EA does is BS. I mean, because hence look at what Battlefront 2 goes back to Battlefront 2 and stuff. That is not acceptable on what they were trying to pull over to the community. You know, so I think that the amount of people that they're catering to is not for the gamer that knows this nonsense. It's more towards casual. It's more towards, hey, my mom wants I told my mom I wanted this game, but so she's going to get the game. And then once it comes out, because she has no idea what's in it, and then she's going to cater to that, and then when that stuff happens, then you're just going to go with the flow with it, and that's why I say it's going to be literally impossible to say stop giving them money because because I know it's not going to happen. It's not going to work.
Yeah, it's still they're still making money. They're just not seeing how much money they could be making, and like they almost don't care because they feel like this thing becomes more profitable as a singularity thing if we do it this way.
Right.
You know.
Well, no.
Like it's like if you spend $10, make $100. Cool. Like that's really great. I'm just gonna keep doing that. But if you spend $10 and charge like $50, make $1,500. I'd rather do that, and most game companies are doing it that way.
Right. Yeah, and again, why change something when I know it's working, when people are spending the money, and there are those other projections and those possibilities. But if no way it's going to stop me from doing what I'm doing right now, I'm probably not going to stop.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you for that. Thank you for the statement too. That was a good point. I will appreciate that. Okay. So we'll need to cut it. Well, can't say cut it short. That was actually probably the best topic right now with it. But
I won't deny that.
We'll cut. We'll probably cut a little bit your time a little short on this one this time, Sesh. So, but definitely. But yours going to be the third seat. So, you can do. Let's do your topic here.
Okay, yeah, mine's, I mean, we could probably segue it and then talk more about, like, what the gaming space is like right now, because apparently there is a patent on no load times for the PS5. So both the PS5 and the Scarlet are going to be solid-state drives, so, like, obviously, like, this is going to be much quicker overall, but apparently there's a patent for it, and, like, there's a specific way that they're adding to their technology to make it be quicker. And it's funny because they actually bring up Spider-Man, which is the game I'm like currently streaming now, which I am streaming again now. It's been a month, but I am streaming Spider-Man again. And they actually use Spider-Man as a test. And I felt this one because I sat there and like I noticed like, oh, hey, there's load screens. I remember these. It's been a minute. Because all the games I play, like they don't really have them. Like it's very, they make it very seamless with most games now. They find the ways to cheat in there, and then just technology is so much better. But like we know, like they weren't at E3 this year, but they used Spider-Man. And they did do this. They did do a demonstration there for investors and all of that. And it was Spider-Man on the PS4 and a load screen that took like 8 seconds, right? So noticeable. This is only 8 seconds, but noticeable. And they did it on the PS5, and it took less than 1 second. So that is a big overhaul, and that is a big change with like actual legitimate just load times, no, seamlessly making it work in between transitioning from different areas like most games do now. And I was just thinking and marveling a little bit of that about like the kind of gaming space we're in now. So I just want to take a moment to appreciate, wow, like load times are literally like they're so going away, and there's so few games where we actually have to like deal with that. Like I remember. Spider-Man one's a good example. Like it was the first time I felt a load time in a very long time with the games I play.
I just love the fact that. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you gonna say Smitty?
I was just saying she clearly didn't play Anthem.
Well, okay. Load time that's not internet related at all, but yes, also I did not play Anthem.
Yes, but like, oh god, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. Anyway, yeah. It's funny. That's like when I think about the statement of them like saying that they patented like load time, like seamless load times is insane to me. Just thinking about where it was at like back in the days to what it is now. I mean, there is always going to be load time on a CD base, but I guess now since most things are going towards digital, I can kind of understand why where they're kind of aiming towards, but yeah, like to say that like we've gone along, it's been a long road to get to that, to get where we are, and for where Sony is just killing it with that kind of level of technology. I kind of want to know like how it's even possible to patent something like that, because it's like you would think that you would try to make you think it would be like, oh, okay, all you have to do, it's a process, all you have to do is this. It's not like it's using proprietary Sony equipment or Sony software to do it, it's like wow.
And the way it reads it, which is, it's going to be patented. I mean, so it seems like they already do have a patent on it. Like their methods of load time is already something that they have a thing on, and this is just adding to it because they've improved it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Super interesting.
I mean, I feel like, can you, so they're trying to patent the load time, or?
Not a load time, but the process for loading.
The procedure.
So, like, the tech behind, like, the processing, the reading the disk, the reading the hard drive, like, because PS5 is going to be solid state. So, like, there's a process, the way their processors are handling it is apparently patented. And they're adding to that for the PS5 because they've apparently had like some kind of breakthrough where like they've added and changed the way it does it so it's faster. It's not just the hardware is better. Yeah. Like there's a process involved that's very, very techy that this article does not go into and is blowing my mind. But the tech's better, isn't that? That's all you need, right? That's technology, is when things get better. That's how it works, right?
You know what's funny when I was thinking about that? It was like the other night about PS5. It's like graphic wise, I don't think we're going to see much of a difference now at this point. Now it's going to, because like I think we're at a point where we're kind of peaking, where how things are being made towards it. You can make it nicer, you can make it a little bit refreshed, you can make it like smoother. I will say definitely, but like to say like you remember when you first saw the Super Nintendo and you switched up to Nintendo 64. That kind of advancement of graphics, or the PS2 to the PS3, that kind of thing. It's like
so real, guys. Yeah, watered down.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, that kind of stuff. So like, I think now it's like the 5 is just going to be more like just more refined abilities and things that you can do towards your software to make it the best inclusive gaming experience that one would do. Because like the biggest thing that I will be so pissed about if 5 goes by is that it's not backwards compatible with 4. Because like
so sad.
There was absolutely no reason this time around. Like I can understand why 3 to 4 was a little bit of a problem because of the format, but that doesn't excuse them with like digital content that you got off of PSN or like for instance Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Like why can't we not port that over to a more modern system, like because that was a digital only release, but like so that's the stuff that I'm really more worried about, because like when you did a system advancement, you back in the day you didn't need to worry about that nonsense, but now since you have an online account and you've downloaded stuff from that stuff, you want your library to be moving over to it.
Honestly, I feel like that is how to win the console wars, is the backwards compatibility, because there's just such a fantastic expanse of a catalog that they, especially Sony, has like 5 systems worth. Like, that's fantastic. Like, that's just such a great way to do it, is to have backwards compatibility. Because, no, people don't want to be buying these things every single time. And now for a couple of generations, we've had these accounts. So we should be able to just reach out and get what we've already bought via having an account like that. I think that really will sell it. And I think it really does add so much more value to the system.
And we know that Xbox Scarlet is going to be backwards compatible, so I think they'd be shooting themselves in the foot. And I know that I think Xbox One was as well.
One wasn't 100%. Yeah, one wasn't 100% to the 360, but it was. They've been working on their backwards catalog since year 2 of the Xbox One. So now it's able to do a lot. I don't know if it's compatible with original Xbox games, but that's the thing though. There's a certain level of backwards compatibility where you just shouldn't care. I mean, not to be kind of to that level, but like really, to be frank, it's like, I don't think the mass consensus would be like, oh, okay, I have an Xbox One, I want to play an Xbox game. I want to play Jade Empire from the original Xbox and play that on my Xbox One. There is a certain level where it's like, there are certain 360 games I can understand that you're wanting to do it, because this year, or this generation of consoles is like the generation of HD remakes and stuff like that. So like so there's a level of there's certain games that you're wanting to bring again and wanting to play again on the newer deal, but at the same time it's like, to Sesh's point, it's like there's no reason for us to, like, why do we want to move, like, why are we paying for a game that we paid for a long time ago and just so we could play it on the newer systems. So
I think there is like a level of games like that, like they should have like maybe all the way back, but I think they should do it like with some computer programs. Like there is one in particular that I'm thinking of. I'm not even going to say it yet, but what they do is like they'll let you buy one. It's not only about like how many computers you could put it on, but they'll give you a certain number of like free upgrades. So like say like just 3. So like let's say, like I bought something for PS4 or even like PS3, then maybe that holds true till PS6. And then after that one comes out, if I still want it, then I could buy it. Like just having it be more than like one system backwards. Because there are so many people that have been playing these games for such a long time. And honestly, like, as a non-parent who wants to be a parent, when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to want my kids to play like the old stuff originally. Like they might actually like go back and do it. Like I did that with movies. Like there's a lot of like people that want to do that kind of stuff for their kids. They want to start them off with like, classic Mario games and then let them graduate and play the new ones at the same, as they grow a little bit older too. But I think that's a really great way to do it. And I think there's definitely going to be, we're like right in that generation of like people doing that now. And regardless, just if we want to buy each of these things, like it sucks to have to buy all the games all over again. Like
you start them off with DuckTales.
Yeah.
then Darkwing Duck, then Tailspin. Yep. That's what you do. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like that's, a lot of people do that. Like that's how we consume media. I mean, that's why like there are a lot of new like Star Wars fans that, started on the episodes, but there's still so many like just as kids that like didn't see Star Wars in the theaters, but they started with like the original trilogy. Like like that will be something that happens, and it's something. It's not a huge market, but it's going to be it's a nice market where like they'll still be able to make some money off of.
Oh, sounds good. Wow. Okay. And, we're actually at a good point right there. So is there anything on the chat, Smitty, that we should point out?
No, somebody had said something about, Cowboy said something about original Rampage on Xbox One X.
That is an underrated game. That is such an underrated game. Yes.
Man, that was the game I had for N64, like that Rampage game. That was the one that came with it that we had.
Wasn't that in arcades too, right?
Yeah. Rampage World Tour.
Yeah, I was like, arcades.
Tourist Trap.
Yeah, that's right. Oh God, yes, it was Tourist Trap. Like that. Like I remember, like when I was like, what was it, middle school, and then just saw the Cruis'n USA arcade. That was just played for hours. I played that for a long time too. It's ridiculous. Like, or Alien vs Predator. I remember the arcade cabinet for that, and I'm like, oh. So good.
Oh, there were so many good arcade games back then.
Man, we could do a whole segment on that. So I will say that.
Just arcade games.
I know that, so Cowboy from chat wanted to, he said something about Cyberpunk 2077. I know that we talked about it.
Yeah.
Last week as well. I don't know. I know that there's been some, and I kind of I haven't watched the videos, but I did see that there was some, a little bit of drama with somebody as far as with that game. I didn't look into it though.
Really?
Not necessarily with the game. It was, I remember seeing it on YouTube, and it ended up backfiring on the person.
Oh, I have a feeling I know what that might be about.
What was it?
I mean, if I had to guess, they did state that you can make trans characters in the game, so I would imagine people had to be mad about that, even though, like, it's not,
I don't think it was.
I wonder if this character goes home and sleeps with a man or a woman or a bot or whatever.
Yeah.
What? I mean, somebody asked somebody asked somebody a question about that. Like, what is
Gears 5? Yeah. It was about Gears 5.
Like the two dudes, like when you watch a trailer, like I was pretty sure they were a thing.
I don't think it was probably that, because because from what you were saying, Smitty, that was Gears 5. Someone asked about like his what's his name, the main guy's sexual orientation, and he's like, it's like, why does that even matter? It's like that's not even a question that like you would want to put like for like what the game is. Like, why would you care about what if it's a guy or girl? Like, it's really weird. So like he just said, if you wanted to get that kind of story, go to Overwatch, because Overwatch goes by that kind of like goes that deep into it. So, but yeah, I'm trying to find what you're saying, because yeah, I don't think it could be a big deal with it, because I mean, if that was the case, I mean, Witcher 3 would have been a big issue from all that nonsense.
I mean, there's definitely people that like to complain.
Oh, there
about
probably
those things.
is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll take a look into it.
There was a YouTube video about it, and I didn't get the time to take a look at it. I'm trying to scroll and find it.
Okay.
I know that they also, real quick, we'll get back to it. Oh my gosh. Yeah. With Keanu Reeves.
The breathtaking. Okay, we'll stop it from here, and then we can talk more about it after we're done.
Like I mentioned with Cyberpunk, I know I'm going to be talking about that a lot. I'm very excited for it, so it will come up again and again.
Oh yeah. All right, folks, this is episode number 13 on CFG GameCast. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being active on the chats on it. We always want a good discussion with you as the viewer. You can always check us out. Check out Smitty's awesome content when he's not sick at Smitty2447, and also check out Sesh is actually kind of being a little bit more stable now, so go check Review Sesh out for their Spider-Man run. And right now we're going to be doing, and then check out Mr. CFG himself, Davis Green, over at CFG Games for some other for variety gaming content goodness. So also next week we will be off. I will be on assignment doing an event, and I think it's a good time to have a week off for everybody. So we're going to come back the week after and go forward from there. So this is Davis signing off. Y'all have a great day.